All right, let's talk about my middle school classroom library. So before I started or did anything, I really wanted to spend some time thinking about the purpose that I wanted our classroom library bulletin board to serve. Did I want it to have a fun saying? Did I want it to be interactive? Did I want something that maybe had nothing to do with reading? And after quite a bit of thought, I decided that I would have my large back bulletin in my classroom be dedicated to providing students with book recommendations from their peers. And so when I set this up, since the school year hadn't started yet, I had actually had my 8th graders from last year leave their book recommendations for the incoming 8th graders. And I thought it would be such a great way to engage our new set of students since they really looked up to our graduates so much. So then in setting up my classroom library, there were quite a few books that I would love for my students to read, but because of the population that I worked with, I wanted to make sure that I got parental permission for some of these particular books. So I had a section of my classroom library dedicated to these books, and I have more than this particular picture shows. And I also created a letter to parents to let them know how the process works for their students to check out any of these books. And I will include a link below for that particular letter so that you can use the same exact thing as I did as well. Then when I organized my classroom library for this particular school year, I actually wanted to put them in alphabetical order, and I used my friend Molly from Lessons with Laughter, her library labeling kit. And so I spent a lot of time, figuring out how I wanted to organize my classroom library. And I ultimately came to the conclusion that alphabetical was going to be best for a very specific reason. And that reason is I was using Google Sheets to keep track of all of my classroom library books. And originally I was going to put this in genre, but then I decided because of Google Sheets and it was easy to label the genre on Google Sheets, I decided against that and kept it in alphabetical order just for ease of organizing it and for students to be able to put the books back themselves. And so just after tons of years of trying to keep track of my class library books, Google Sheets really proved to be the easiest and most effective way to do this. I do require students to check out their book through Google Sheets, and here's how I set everything up so you can kind of see it in action. So I created a Google Sheet where I have 4 following columns labeled. And so it has the title of the novel, the author, the genre, and then who it was checked out by. It's super simple, very straightforward. And I will tell you, I did not do this. I actually had some of my students do this for me. They input all of this data. A bunch of my girls actually said that they wanted to come in before school started and help me get this set up. So that was really, really helpful. So then once I have that classroom library list all set up, I created a Google class in our Google Classroom that was literally just dedicated to our library and only includes that one link. That way it was really easy for my students to find the link, to access our library list, all that stuff, right? Initially I had posted it in a separate part of my Google Classroom, but it totally disappeared, way down the line of other assignments. So having an entirely separate class was really the most effective for me. So then the last aspect of my classroom library that I absolutely love is that it is a really inviting place for students to come and relax and read. There's nothing better than just creating that cozy space for students to curl up with a good book. And for me, the easiest way to do this was to have floor pillows like the ones in this picture. You can kind of see right there. Nothing big, nothing fancy. I eventually ended up buying a little carpet to put back there, a little throw rug, just to make it a really warm, inviting space. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and you can see how a middle school classroom library is such a great way to nurture a love of reading in your classroom. And then it doesn't have to be daunting. It doesn't have to be crazy. It can be very simple, very easy, and very streamlined. All right, make sure that you subscribe where you're watching this video for more videos like this one.